You're listening to Building a Creative Life. I'm Pam Vale, an artist and writer. This podcast is about the small, often overlooked ways creativity shows up in real life, in what we notice and in what we choose to respond to. Here you'll find conversations and reflections shaped by curiosity, not instruction. No expectations, nothing to master. Just room to pay attention and trust where that leads. Today I'm joined by Tara Hodgson. Tara is an author and a longtime teacher, and those two parts of her life are deeply connected. Her novels explore some of the harder realities teenagers are navigating today: mental health struggles, cyberbullying, exploitation, and the complicated presence of technology in young lives. I hope you'll stay with us through the end, where I'll share a few reflections on what lingered with me after my conversation. Well, welcome to the show, Tara. I'm really happy that you're here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to talk about your books and your writing and your topic. And I think there's a lot of really universal, important stuff that you tackle. And I'm excited to dig into that with you. And I would love it if you could tell our listeners a little bit, like a little overview of you, a little bit about you, so they know who you are and where we're coming from.
Yeah, I guess I used to always, answer this question by saying I'm a teacher, and it's a very new experience to say I'm also an author. But a lot of my writing stems from my experience as being a junior high teacher. So I'm going on I'm already at the point I'm losing count, but I think I'm on year 18 of teaching junior high. So I'm just surrounded by teenagers all the time. And their experiences really inspire me. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for teaching junior high, but I actually think they're just the best. I love them. They drive me crazy, don't get me wrong, but they're such an interesting age range, and I can just, connect and remember so much of being that age and like learning who you are and figuring yourself out. And so I just naturally was drawn to writing YA, and I've always loved to read it as well, but I love writing YA and getting into the headspace of being a teen and just, that who the heck am I? What is going on? How do I navigate through these like incredibly challenging times and come out the other side? And I love writing in that genre. So that's what I've started doing in the last few years.
And for people that don't know, YA is young adult. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, young adult. And actually, my second book's more new adult, which is like a new emerging genre. It's more like that older teen into like the 18, 19, 20 range. It's starting to make a name for itself.
Okay. It's interesting. It definitely takes a specific person to work with teens. I know. My husband was a police officer for many years, and the last, I would think, like maybe 7 years of his career, he was an SRO at a high school and middle school.
Yeah.
So, and he loved it. I mean, same like what you just described. And for me, it would be like death. To me, that would not work for me. But I love that you've embraced this part of it, and you've used it for your creative output. And
well, I have them right there. They're just there all the time, and they tell me all the things, so it was natural.
Yeah. And I also I really identify with you like adding this title of author, and how it feels different, because once you identify with something for so long, as a teacher, or for myself as an artist, like a visual artist, and then you add in these other things, or you maybe shift things, it's difficult sometimes.
It really is. And I did not fully understand what imposter syndrome was until I became a writer. Because even now I'm like, a writer? I'm not a writer. Like, what? It's such a strange feeling to like, it's something you love. And I did it. I've written a few books now. I've published 2, but I still like have a strange relationship with calling myself a writer. I just feel like a phony. I'm just a fraud over here.
And how does that
I
how does
think
that
it's
show up for you? Like, does it make you stop, or does it
uh that doesn't make me stop. It makes me like I don't like talking about it, especially with people I know. Like with people I don't know, it's very different, but with people I know, I'm just like, well, whatever. I just really minimize it. Like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's such a strange thing. I don't like attention very much. So that's another very strange thing for me. Like, it's also weird as a teacher. I'm in the spotlight every day, like people paying attention to me. But when it's kids, it's so different. When it's adults and peers that now you have a spotlight on you, I get very uncomfortable. So I just like deflect.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me stop. I definitely because the writing part is such an introverted, it's so private that it doesn't feel terrible. Like if I love doing that part of it, it's all the rest of it
Right.
that makes me
That you
feel
have
like
to
the
do.
imposter.
Exactly.
Yeah, the marketing, the social media bit, which I did not prepare for. I didn't even think about it when I wrote my first book. Also ironically was very much about how social media is not great and that I would now have to ironically totally promote myself over social media. So yeah, not prepared for that in the slightest.
That's funny. I want to get into the topic of your book and your books and the things that you tackle, but it's interesting because just yesterday I did my first Substack live with another author. And it was awesome, and it was scary, but it was awesome because I'm also I don't love the spotlight, which is weird because I have a podcast, but
yeah.
The topic was the habit of self-doubt. And it showed that it's so universal, right? It's so like second guessing ourselves, or maybe not being able to really celebrate our accomplishments, or thinking like, why me? Like, why would someone listen to me? Why, all those thoughts. And it doesn't even have to be about something that you feel insecure about, like you love writing. So it's like, it can come out at anything. It doesn't even matter what it is.
Yeah, it is. And the more I've talked about it, the more I've realized how common it is. I've made a couple posts on social media and people, yeah, me too. I feel the same way. And that helps too. I think just talking about it and knowing it's very normal, and most people are feeling this way. The people who don't, I'm like, wow.
I don't know any of those people.
For you. Yeah. They've got to be somewhere, but I'm like, you are incredible to just throw this out into the world, because as an artist, it's the most vulnerable experience in the world. So the actual writing is so easy for me, and you're in that moment, but you're alone, you're with it, and then it's okay, read this.
Right. And
read my soul.
And I think writing is so different from because I just finished a book, and it's it's different. It's different than visual art. For me, maybe other people are very intimately connected to their visual art. Mine, I'm not. And the writing is different, because even if you're not writing about your own personal things, it's coming out, and then you put it out there.
Yeah, it's wild. It felt just like peeling off a layer of skin. And just exposing yourself, right? It's too vulnerable.
Yeah. What are some of the topics that you tackle? I know some of them, and I know they can be kind of difficult, or, they're important topics.
Yeah, I definitely don't shy away from the hard stuff, because, again, being surrounded by teens, they're exposed to terrible things all the time, and mostly through their phones, which all of them have them. 99%, I should say, have access to the whole world in their back pockets. So that's really what kind of inspired me. Just being a teacher for 18 years, I have seen, I taught when there weren't cell phones. And then I taught when they had flip phones, and those little ones you'd slide up, and you'd have to hit the A or the number 1 so many times to get to the C or whatever. And then this move to smartphones, where now it's just a normal thing for kids at 10, 11 years old to be given full access to the world at their fingertips. And I just noticed all of these changes in the kids I was teaching, and I knew what it was coming down to primarily, and I didn't know, like I just really felt really sorry, I worked all day, so my words are failing me because I talked all day. I felt really helpless and impotent over it, and this was my way of like expressing that to the world. So yeah, my first book, Chasing Through Time, really focuses on themes like mental health, self-harm, suicide, cyberbullying, and it all kind of comes down to this, common denominator of things that are happening on the phone, sharing intimate photos and having those spread. And these are all things that I have witnessed and experienced as a teacher. So it was very easy for me to just kind of create this world. I made a fictional rural community called Cardothia, which is very much based on where I am around. And just these are things that everyday kids are experiencing. And my second book, At Least I'm Trying, I really took it to the next level. So it's very much a warning. It's very real. I did a lot of research for it. Thankfully, I have not seen this situation in my teaching career, but it kind of delves into, meeting people on the internet and then being drawn into the world of sex trafficking. So very intense, but also I hope I did it in a sensitive way. It's not explicit or anything, but it is a difficult read.
But important information.
Very important, and that's my goal. I'm not burying my head in the sand. I just like, this is happening, and kids are, talking to strangers online and meeting up with them sometimes. And thankfully, I don't know anyone who that's gone sideways for, but there are people who are targeting these kids, while they're safe in their bedrooms. Yeah. So I want to start conversations. Basically, I want people to read these and be like, oh, okay, we got to talk. Like, what's going on? What are some boundaries? What do we do if this happens? That's really my goal.
And have you had like resistance or pushback on what you're writing about?
Not so much pushback, just, people saying like, this was really hard to read. I have gotten a couple of reviews that like, oh, this would never happen. But I'm like, well, but I did the research. It is happening. Is it the extreme side of it? For sure. But fiction is for me a way of, learning. Like, hey, so this is extreme. Let's make sure it doesn't happen. What are the steps that we could have taken here, here, and here so that we didn't get to this point over here? Not resistance per se, just like discomfort. There are people who are uncomfortable with it.
Which they're going to be uncomfortable with pretty much anything anybody produces at some point.
Exactly. And I knew it was uncomfortable to write too. So
interesting.
But I also, it was hard to put myself in those situations. It's not something any of us want to think about. Putting myself in those situations was definitely like, how do I do this in a sensitive way? Because a lot of my research, based on real people, I want to do this justice for people who have actually experienced this. Mm-hmm. I also find it interesting, like I have had some people saying it's inappropriate content for teens. And I always say, like, again, I do not write anything graphic at all. But my counter argument is nobody's checking what they're seeing on TikTok or on Snapchat.
I was going to say, don't they know?
On their phone, right?
Don't they know what they're looking at? It's probably so much worse.
Exactly. What they're coming through on their phone is so much worse. And at least I find fiction is such a, it's a way to learn and just be exposed to that content in a way that's meant for learning, not just for, seeing something in a quick video for entertainment. This is meant to teach.
And what are some of the themes that you see like showing up, sort of like, like the correlation between the current state of technology and then the growing like adolescent brain and like, things that we've seen with changes in the way they can socialize or comparison that's, of what they're seeing or other mental health issues. Like, are there themes that you see like showing up consistently?
Yeah, I would say like the comparison piece is really huge. They're always seeing what other people are doing and comparing themselves, which is a teenage thing. That's a human thing. And I guess now it's just so much more prevalent. And like me as a grown woman, I can see something and somebody else and recognize like, oh, that's probably not real. Like I can recognize the other side of what's going on there. Whereas like a teenager, you're not necessarily making those, thoughts, those connections. You're just seeing like, oh, how come she looks like that, or how come her life is like that and mine isn't, and all of those things. So comparison is huge. The fear of missing out too, like again, teenagers have that. If you were a teenager and you didn't get invited to a party, you might not have known until Monday, so you got to enjoy your weekend. Now you're getting like a play-by-play of that, and that hurt of being rejected is happening your whole weekend. Another one is just not being able to disconnect, I guess. Like if I had a bad day in junior high, which junior high was not a great time for me, I could go home and it was like safe and I could relax and breathe. And now it just follows them. Right. They don't ever get that time to breathe and relax if, something is going on. It's following them all night long, potentially in their bedrooms if they have their phones. And that is like such a hindrance to mental health. So I don't know, teaching 18 years ago, was mental health a thing? Absolutely. Kids were struggling with mental health, but the numbers have just exploded.
Right.
So
and the severity,
I
think the severity of the, how they're handling it. Is different.
Well, and if you set up test accounts on TikTok and Snapchat for like a teenage girl, the content that they're fed within the first 10 minutes has a lot to do with self-harm and suicide. So the cutting is like that prevalence has increased exponentially, and there is so many videos like kind of glorifying it on TikTok, where these people, they're just fed it automatically without even their algorithm, being set to anything else. Yeah. So suicide, I guess, is something too. They're just exposed to content that, again, it's kind of glorifying it. And, those things existed for sure, 20 years ago, but I wasn't, you're not exposed to it consistently through your device.
Absolutely.
So that's really scary.
So how do you, as a creative and a teacher, how do you balance those topics with still making something readable and entertaining or enlightening or something somebody wants to pick up?
So my first book, so it's Chasing Through Time, I really focused on the mental health piece. What I did is I created two protagonists. They live 20 years apart. And they live in the same town, go to the same school, and they connect online. So there's like a time traveling twist. So I made it really nostalgic for like the elder millennial like myself. So the one girl, Sarah, she's going through high school in 2001, and it was really fun to like go back to that era. What was high school like? Is it still challenging? Absolutely. And I've had so many people be like, oh, I connected with that so much. But then at the same time, she has this friendship with Emma, who's living in 2022, who same challenges, but now we have such a twist with this added complication on her, having a cell phone and having the internet. So yeah, it is kind of this very heavy contemporary, but this time travel twist and this beautiful friendship, this beautiful, like completely implausible friendship, and how they actually become like they're saviors for each other. So I think that maybe that relationship piece, I just kind of worked my way to my answer. Creating relationships that people can see and connect to, I think is really important, and giving hope. So yeah, my books are heavy and emotional. I get a lot of people saying like, oh, I cried so much. But at the end, I always make it hopeful, because for me, like when I talk to kids about mental health, I talk about our lives, how, mostly we're just like, meh, it's pretty boring. There isn't really anything going on. And then you have like something, whoa, it's so amazing. And then you have the drops. But most of the time we're really just here. So I want to show, like, yeah, these characters go through it and they go through these terrible transformative situations, but there's hope at the end. It gets better. Even when life feels dark and bleak and terrible, it does get better. There's always light at the end.
And I guess it shows them that, whatever they're thinking or feeling or seeing, they're not alone, that, other
Yeah.
people are going through that. And when you're
Exactly.
writing, in your writing process, do you see the whole thing in front of you, or is it like an outline, or are there like snippets that come through to you? Like, how do you write?
My first book, I knew almost like start to finish. It was kind of serendipitous the way it all happened. I went for a walk and I'd never thought about writing professionally. I loved writing, but I went for a walk and this story, like literally, the whole thing just like
Wow.
fell into my mind. I remember I had my phone and I was just like spewing random gibberish into my notes app, like, blah, blah, blah. And I came home and I wrote it in like 6 months. And my second book, I had like an idea, but I didn't know how I was going to get to the end. I knew how I wanted it to end, but I had no idea how that journey was going to go, which was actually kind of amazing. Sitting down and just, I didn't know this would happen when I started writing, that you would just go into kind of a trance and like things just happen. Like I didn't know that was going to happen. So it took longer for sure because I had to, play around with how to get my characters to where I needed them to get to, but it was very fun and kind of exciting that I didn't know that.
It was like you got to go on the journey like everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah. And there were times I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work. Like I can't, like you're so frustrated, but it worked itself out. And honestly, for me, walking, like if I get really stuck, if I just go for a walk, it's
It
amazing
is
how things just fall into place.
Oh my God. And I know that there's like scientific proof behind this, but same thing. Like there's
Yeah.
something. I had another guest that talked about she called it downloading. So she would walk and like this stuff would just like be downloaded without effort.
Yes, that's exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I
Yeah.
I think that that's very common for creatives. Like I talk to all different people on the podcast. So, visual artists and people in PR and architects and, writers, obviously. And it's a very common thread. Number one, getting out in nature. That's very common
Yes.
to get inspiration. And then the walking is just incredible.
Yeah, my brain, I wouldn't even notice it at first.
Yeah.
Like, and my brain's just like,
And then it doesn't, and then you
I
got to
hate
capture it really
walking.
quick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I never used to walk with my phone because it was like such a great way to disconnect, but now I have to.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'll lose it. I remember I was walking and I had this line. It was just this great line and I was just like repeating it over and over. I'm like, I can't forget. I need to get home and like,
Did you remember it?
I did. Yeah.
Good.
I did. It was in At Least I'm Trying in my second book, but yeah, just those little things. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta walk with my phone now.
Yeah.
It's happening.
What are other ways that you find inspiration? Do you have things you do?
I guess just being at school, sometimes having conversations with kids, I'll get ideas. And, that's how I got my idea for At Least I'm Trying, actually, was just overhearing a conversation about snap maps, which is a function in Snapchat where people, like, they just follow each other's locations all the time, even strangers. And I'm like, what? So it kind of like got my brain but I find, I don't know if it's being an introvert. Like, I feel like I've been writing stories in my head my whole life because I just spend so much time in there that they just come. I don't know.
Do you have to, do you find ways to like refuel? Do you ever need to like just step away or?
Oh, yeah. I definitely do. Actually, I turned in my third manuscript to my editor 3 weeks ago, I want to say, and I was right away going to write, but then I'm like, I need a break. Like, I just gotta stop. But I have ideas. I have like my notes app. I have stuff on the go, but I need a break.
And does that ever worry you that it won't like pick up again, or does it just come? No.
No, because I can already feel myself starting to get like antsy.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
And I have too many ideas in my back and like at the back burner. I think, having a day job, I don't know if you still have the day job or you can be an artist full time, but the day job sometimes just really gets in the way of the passion projects.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be, especially because you're using your mind and your creativity all day, creative problem solving or creative thinking or interacting with people. That must be very difficult to then come home and like want to create these worlds.
Yes, it is. I find even when I am writing like fully, we're writing on weekdays, like after a school day, I find it nearly impossible. Like my brain is just fried. So I'm like a Saturday, Sunday, summer vacation, like full tilt, gotta write.
Do you have a routine? Do you have when you do sit down and you do those like chunks of time, do you, I don't know, have a favorite beverage or a certain place or candle or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to say I sat in this office I have and wrote here. I have it all set up. I have plants, like a window overlooking the backyard. It's so nice. But I have like this little divot in my couch that's just so comfortable. Not ergonomically sound, but when I sit there like with a coffee, I always have Gilmore Girls on in the background. I don't know why. But I think because I don't have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it so many times, but I need some kind of like noise, some
It's
kind
like
of background
company.
noise. Yeah, exactly. That is when I can write the most. And I can even, like, I have 2 kids. They can be running around and doing their thing, and that doesn't bother me in the slightest. Music, I cannot listen to music when I write. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I get too distracted by the lyrics.
I have to agree with that. I have to have it that off. But I can have like a TV show that I've seen in the background and people. And I can do it in a cafe or in public or whatever. Yeah.
Coffee shops? Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I can do that easily. It is so weird.
And you said you're a little more introverted. So obviously with books, you have to promote yourself, even if you have somebody helping you. So how did...
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is just selfishly, I want to know because I am more introverted and I just sent the book off to the publisher. So I know this is coming up for me. So how do you do that? Do you have to do like book readings and like being out there and like how do you do that as an introvert?
Oh, well, I do it because I have to, but I do it begrudgingly. Because I do find the best sales I get are at like book fairs and bookstore signings. And if you ever see me there, you'd never know how much I'm like dying inside because my body cannot differentiate between a book signing and being chased by a bear yet. And I've done like so many. Like I'm sweating. I get red all the time, like I'm red right now, but I am like beet red. Ugh. But I think being a teacher, I'm so good at faking it because I have to. Like if I'm having the worst day, I have to perform. If I'm, nervous about a new class, I have to perform. And I've done so much public speaking that prepared me for that so much. So I just fake it. I'm very good at faking it. People would never know how much I'm just like, I also find, the book signings and stuff, I'm not a good salesperson, especially for myself. So I don't, like, I'm not going to stand there and be like, hey, you over here. Like, I will never. I just want like, hey, how's it going? And if people come up to me, I just kind of let them come if they want to, which I think helps because, people don't want to be pushed and it's just not natural for me. So finding what works for you and just faking it until you make it. And maybe it will get easier one day, but I don't think it's going to happen. And afterwards, I am dead tired.
Yeah.
It is
that.
Exhausting. I have 3 days in a row coming up at the end of March, like a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I am preparing for I got to have at least 2 days of recovery after that.
of like events that you have to do? That's 3
in a row, and I'm like, whew, this is going to be a long haul.
What about the whole thing you brought up earlier in the conversation about social media and how you write about the bad side of that, but then you have to use it to promote this.
I think my problem with social media is just like, I want it to be authentic
Yes.
because I think so many people, it doesn't feel authentic. I don't want to just post something for the sake of posting something, and I want to be myself. Um, so that has been like a balance, and I think I'm kind of finding my way. I try and be honest, I guess. Like I posted about, hating being on social media. I posted about, the imposter syndrome and, where I write. This is where I write, guys. Like I literally just sit in this crack in my couch cushion that just fits my butt perfectly. um, I think, yeah, just being yourself is really important. And I also find I can't do it too much. Like I know they say like you got to post every day, but that I can't find my flow for that yet. So I've even taken like a little step back from the social media here recently because it can burn you out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a full-time
It's a
job. There's
lot.
a reason why people do this for their full-time job
Mm-hmm.
because it's a lot. And you know I just don't get caught up in how many followers do you have and how many likes did this post get, because it's too much energy. It can consume so much of you. So I'm trying to just find that balance, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely. It
hard.
is hard. I totally
Hmm.
feel that. And I,
Hmm.
while I was looking at your social media, I
Yeah.
I did see a pile of the most beautiful fluffy kitties that I have
Oh yeah.
ever seen. So, oh my God, I am a cat person. I love
Hmm.
all animals.
Me
I'm a
too.
cat person, and I saw your cats, and I was like, oh my God, they're beautiful. So,
Yeah.
do are they around you when you're working? Like, what's your connection to like your animals
Yeah.
and
Sometimes. Oh, I love my cats. Like I also love all animals, but the older I get, I realize I am a cat person through and through. They get me. So my cats live
Mhm.
outside, but in the summertime, like I sit on the deck a lot and do writing, or I just read, and they're just always around. They're out right now because it's actually nice out. I live in Canada, and it has not been nice.
Yeah.
So they were soaking up the sunshine on the deck. And I think, I don't know, as a cat person, you understand, like if you're just having a tough time, they're the
It's the
best. Just
best.
that dopamine boost.
Absolutely.
Instantaneous.
And it's funny
Hmm.
because I never, I've always been a cat person, and behind me I have cat beds on the floor. When I write
Hmm.
downstairs, like they have a blanket near me and all that stuff. And I recently did a podcast with another author, and she focuses on the connection between creativity and our pets and animals. Her name is Holly B.
Ah.
And it just, it was something I didn't really think about. Like I'm not inspired by them like I paint them, or I write about them.
Yeah.
But there's just something, and again, cats specifically for me, just their personalities, or like just
Hmm.
like what you said, the dopamine, or like how you feel around them, or just seeing them, in a cute
Yeah.
position or something.
Yeah, they make me so happy. And I do love dogs as well. I did have a dog. She was 17 when she passed. Her name was Bailey. And she laid beside me like the whole time I wrote my first book. Like she was just right there, just a steady, calming presence.
That's a beautiful
So I never
memory.
thought, yeah, that connection.
Yeah.
I put her in my acknowledgments and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did it feel? Well, especially having a book connected to, a pet that you lost. Like, how does it feel when you send the book off? Like, other than the imposter syndrome, like, is there, I don't know, is there loss? Is there like, what is it? Is it you disconnected from it? Is it still part of you?
I still obsess over it. I actually am like, ugh, I should have done this.
Oh,
Ugh,
okay.
this was dumb. Like I start to question a lot. My editor is actually a good friend. We used to work together. She was a teacher as well, and I look forward to the feedback.
Hmm.
So even though, yeah, the imposter syndrome's there, I love when my manuscript gets ripped apart. Like I want, like, how do I make this better? Yeah, editing, I enjoy it immensely. So I'm actually like just looking forward to getting it back so I can, make some of those changes and see her thoughts. So not a loss,
Okay.
just like eager. I'm not ready to be done yet. I know that.
Oh, I love that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you have favorite books that you could recommend, like currently, that you're reading or you have read?
I read God of the Woods, which was a big one. I really liked that. I've had a bit of a dud year so far. I know on my Goodreads, I'm on my 10th book, and I'm like, meh. What am I reading? Oh, I'm rereading The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. I don't know how to say her name, but it's a really good historical fiction. What did I read last year? Oh, read Broken Country by Claire. Oh, I'm so bad with remembering names when I'm on the spot. But, oh, that was a really good one. Um, I read the Harry Potter series with my son, and I had never read it before, so that was really nice to read it with him. And I did not think I would like it, but I really did.
Wow.
So yeah, I read everything. I like a genre jumper. I love murder mystery. I love just like contemporary fiction. I read YA a lot, so Kathleen Glasgow is like the queen of YA to me. She is phenomenal, and yeah, I just anything.
Do you think that you'll write in other genres? Like, do you have a
Yeah, I
desire?
have. I'm actually done. I'm almost done. An adult contemporary, more like women's lit. And that was really fun. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I will definitely. But I do love contemporary fiction. I wish I could say I could write a fantasy story or something, but that building is so intimidating to me. I I don't know how. I love reading fantasy, and I'm just always amazed at all the connections that people can make between creatures and characters and worlds, and I think it's a
Especially
whole other
over like
world on its
so
own.
many books. It's like keeping that
Yeah,
all together.
together. I picture like one of those murder walls where they have red string like connecting. I'm
Exactly.
like, how do you do this? Because it's fascinating to me. So I don't know if I could ever do that, but who knows?
You never
You never know.
know. I interviewed an author recently, and she has written, I forgot how many. She's got a few different series. So she's got multiple series and then multiple books in each series. So I was like, I asked her that. I'm like, how
Yes.
do you keep track of this? You know? And she said that there's
Yeah.
actually someone who does it for her. That's their job to
Oh,
like sort of
wow.
check the accuracy or the consistency or whatever, which I thought,
Yeah, like a fact checker.
yeah, but like specifically for writing, and like it keeps you
Yeah,
consistent, which is amazing that
that's
that
interesting.
became,
Yeah, I guess
something.
you'd have to. What a cool job. Now I
Right?
just get to read your books and make sure everything connects.
Yeah,
I'm
I
in.
know, right? Well,
Very
is
cool.
there anything else that you want to add that we didn't talk about?
Well, I guess just I hope, as this new author navigating this totally new territory, I just appreciate anyone who takes a chance on my book so much, and I hope, they see the value and it starts those conversations, and we just get a clear picture on some of the realities of what's happening in the world today, because it's changing, and a lot of like the stuff I'm talking about in my books, it doesn't just affect teens, like adults. We are also navigating this new territory as well, and I hope, just people read it and see those insights and start those difficult conversations, because they are really necessary.
Absolutely. And I will put all your contact information in the show notes so people can find you and your books. And I think what you're doing is really important. And I, like you said, it's not just youth. It's, and it's not even just parents with dealing with their children.
No,
It's
yeah,
everybody. So,
absolutely. Yeah, we're all figuring it out, right? Like now, especially with AI,
yes.
oh man, it's changing constantly.
And quick.
So I felt, yeah, we're not really talking, like books aren't talking about it as much anyway. So I felt like that was definitely missing, in the market. It's a reality. These things are with us everywhere. Like I have mine sitting beside me. Like, why?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're great. They're great, good and bad.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining me. I'm excited to watch, your journey going forward. And like I said, I'll put all your information in the show notes. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yes, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Something that stayed with me after talking with Tara is the idea that many stories begin with noticing. noticing something difficult or something uncomfortable, something that people might not always want to talk about openly. Tara spent years in classrooms with teenagers, and when you spend that kind of time around young people, you start to see things that they carry, sometimes quietly. The pressures of social media, the way identity forms in a very public space now, the loneliness that can exist even when someone seems constantly connected. Tara didn't turn away from those observations. She let them become the starting place for stories. And that feels like such a powerful example of creativity as attention. Not creativity as performance, and not creativity as something polished or perfect, but creativity as noticing something in the world and feeling compelled to respond to it. Another part of the conversation that lingered with me was when Tara talked about feeling like a fraud. That quiet voice many creative people recognize, the one that suggests maybe you don't quite belong in the room. It's interesting how universal that feeling is. Writers feel it, artists feel it, people in all kinds of professions feel it. And yet work still happens. Stories still get written. Conversations still happen. People still show up and share something honest about the world they see. There was also something hopeful in the way Tara talked about the purpose of these stories, not as solutions and not really as answers, but as openings. A novel can't fix the realities teenagers face today, but it can create a moment where someone feels less alone, where a reader recognizes something of their own experience on the page. And sometimes that recognition is enough to begin a conversation. Which brings me back to something I often think about when I talk about building a creative life. So much of it begins with attention, with noticing a truth in the world, something that feels important enough to hold on to, important enough to explore. For Tara, that attention turned into stories about teenagers navigating a complicated world. And listening to her talk about it reminded me that creativity often begins in exactly that place. Thank you for being here. I hope something from today's conversation stays with you in a quiet way. If this episode felt meaningful, you're welcome to follow the podcast or pass it along to someone who might enjoy it. Until next time.